Hey everybody, welcome back to another season of FSi DFS Major League Baseball. And as tradition, both McKinley and I are going to be doing this. So I'm your host, MegRuler31, and we're excited to get the season finally going. We've been grinding since spring training started and having a lot of success, especially towards the end. I took down all the baby slates at the end of the season and carried it over to take down EL. So I'm on kind of a heater. So I'm really looking forward to this. You ready, McKinley?
Oh yeah, excited. Good. I'm excited for all the rule changes. See how it kind of changes the game.
Yeah, and we'll see if it's a moving target if they change them within the season. So we'll have to see how
Yeah.
that goes. But anyways, so for videos this year, we'll do a double one here, probably around the All-Star game. Maybe if we get inspired sometime else during the season, but we'll split up after this. We're going to guarantee hopefully about 5 videos a week because, we both have jobs and lives and other things going on. Probably not on Sundays just because it's really hard with us. I've got NASCAR, McKinley's still doing hockey, we got church and different things going on there, but we'll try to at least bang out 5 videos for you a week. So looking forward to doing that. So we got opening day, which is amazing because we have every single team playing potentially. We have one minor weather concern. We'll have to see how San Diego plays out. But other than that, like, what an amazing thing for Major League Baseball to do, to have actually every single team finally playing.
Yeah, I mean, it's always exciting, and then it always makes DFS kind of interesting just because opening day is the one day of the year where the pitching is absolutely loaded. And then in about 4 or 5 days from now, we'll just be looking at each other like there's
We have
nobody
to
to
play one.
play in the pitching. Yeah, do I have to play one? So opening day is always interesting in that, but I do think that there is one misprice in the pitching here that we'll just go over whenever you want.
Yeah, so let's we watched spring training, we paid close attention to that. We watched the World Baseball Classic, and that showed us a different side of some of these pitchers. Ohtani is absolutely amazing and what he can do, and looking to have an amazing season. So we saw some struggles with the pitch clock and people getting used to it and stuff, but I'm a little apprehensive. But McKinley, you said in our pre-show that you feel that some of these guys have mastered it. So tomorrow, looking at these top guys, I don't know if I really trust any of them. I don't feel, like I really want to pay up for pitcher tomorrow just because they're not really stretched out. You might get 4 to 5 innings, and if they're still trying to get used to the pitch clock and the new rules and stuff, so we'll have to see it. I think it's gonna be a very offensive season. Your take?
We're almost opposites on this. Like, I think that, these top guys have already got the pitch clock kind of figured out. Like, just looking at the numbers that they post up in spring, and I understand that, these lineups are not the major league lineups that you're seeing throughout the course of the season through spring, but like Max Scherzer had 17 innings pitched, 25 Ks, an ERA of 1. Max Fried never let up a single run all of spring in his 14 innings pitched. Alcantara had an ERA under 1 in his 5 starts. McClanahan allowed 1 earned run in his 4 starts. And so it's like, I really don't think that there's much of a concern at this point on my end. If there is, obviously we'll have to adjust as the season goes on. But yeah, so I guess we're kind of opposites when it comes to these elite pitchers here.
Yeah. So if I had to pay up for one, and I play more FanDuel, I think Burns against this Cubs lineup, they really didn't impress me. The other thing that we got to take in consideration too is that Cole's going to be pitching in New York. It's much colder than it was in Florida.
True.
Scherzer, at least, in Alcantara are in Miami, so that's a kind of a controlled environment, correct? They're on the
Yep.
road,
Yep.
I
Yeah,
believe.
it's in Miami.
DeGrom, wrong one, is in Texas. So, I mean, that should be decent there. And Burns against the Cubs. Wrigley can
It's
be
in
interesting.
Wrigley. Wind's blowing out a little bit. It's gonna be kind of cold.
Okay. So, but that can actually help with pitching too, because that might
Yeah,
even though the wind's blowing out 40 degrees, the
it's cold.
ball's not going to fly as far. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So like one thing to also pay attention to, and we have it on the sheet here, is that DeGrom is on like a 75 pitch limit. He only got 2 starts in spring training, and he never went past 37 pitches in either of them. So like I'm really concerned about his arm. But like a guy like Max Scherzer, he had 100 pitches in his final spring training start. Garrett Cole, he was up to like 80 or something. So, you know, I don't think he's too much of a concern either. And you can see on the sheet here, that's why we have Cole and Scherzer kind of up at the top. Just because, their arms are already stretched out. They've proven that they can go 80, 90 plus pitches already. And then just kind of the matchups that they're in, they're nice. They're nice.
Yeah. So I think we both have the favorite SP1 for me for FanDuel and you for DK. And I think we agree McClanahan is kind of underpriced, especially on DK.
Yeah, and he's the cover of the video here. Like McClanahan is the misprice. If you're playing cash games, like you need to just put McClanahan in. I already mentioned his numbers in spring training. He went 9.2 innings pitched, 10 Ks, 1 earned run. That was it. He's got a 30% K rate, going back to last season. And he's got a great matchup going up against Detroit. Detroit did pretty well in spring training, but then they kind of like fell off in the second half of spring training. But still, he's just far too cheap being under 8K. He's probably close to more of like a 9K pitcher at this point. So McClanahan is the SP. He's the first pitcher I'm locking in for sure in cash games. GPP, obviously, you could pivot off of him. But yeah, McClanahan's definitely the first guy I'm putting in to my lineups.
And that's who I have on FanDuel too. Like he's the 6th most expensive. He's 10-4 here. So not as great as the discount, but like with bats and stuff, you can find enough value to get like pretty much the bats that you want here. And to be able to put together a great lineup. Some, like I said, I might play up for Burns in a GPP, but some of the other ones I'm looking at is I don't mind Snell, but if it rains there against Colorado, they're not in Coors. Bryant's pretty much the only one that really scares me on that team. Like the team had a good spring, but it was mostly like the guys that didn't like make the team. If you look at the statistics, and Green, I think is another one that I really like too, that you have at the top of the cheap section here too. A lot of K upside there against the Pittsburgh lineup.
Absolutely. I think he's like one of the best pivots. He's right in that same price range as McClanahan. He's $300 cheaper on DK. So he could be a great pivot. Like Green is a guy who also has 30% K upside, which is like elite. But he doesn't have the floor, we'll say. His ERA is over 5, or it was last season. So like he's still going to allow some runs, but the strikeouts can certainly, boost up his fantasy point total. And just the matchup going up against Pittsburgh, like they're one of the weaker teams in the league. So anytime that we can, get a 30% K upside pitcher for cheap against a weak Pittsburgh lineup, I mean, they got to be on your radar.
Yep, absolutely. Anything else really stick out? We're fading Marquez. Like we thought, like 3-4 years ago, I thought he was going to be really good. Like I was just hoping he'd be a free agent and get out of Coors, but I just don't know. And a lot of these other guys, I think, are great ones that we're going to target with offense. So I think Webb's going to have a good season, but I just don't want to play him right off the bat against the Yankees.
No, he was having some home run issues during spring as well, allowing them. So. It's not a fade. Like he's fine. I just don't have much interest in him right now.
And the other thing too is like we looked at spring training data, but you also have to look at spring data, and we talked about this during some of the slates. Also is that they're experimenting with some pitches too. It was a chance for them to go out there and try like a 3rd or 4th pitch or something. So because the games didn't really count.
Yep. Yeah, that happened last year with Clayton Kershaw. Like he was horrendous during spring training. Came out, said he was trying some new pitches. First start last year, he was fine. Like you just can't take too much stock into the bad spring training performances.
Right.
But I do think that, there is some merit to the good ones.
So who are we looking for bats?
Well, I mean, on DK, it's Atlanta. I mean, it's probably Atlanta on FanDuel as well. But like DraftKings just made them way too affordable. You can pretty much jam whatever lineup you want in. But Atlanta is your clear top stack going up against Patrick Corbin. Corbin, he's been the guy that we've been targeting in DFS for years. Both sides of the plate hit over 320 against him. last season. So you're obviously going to be wanting to, in cash at least, stack Atlanta. Olsen during spring training was just a monster, hitting home runs. Let's see, pull up the stats here. He hit 426 and 8 home runs in 47 at bats, just mashing it. But so like Atlanta's going to be super chalky, super popular. You know, the big guys, Acuna, Albies, Riley, Olsen. There's going to be a lot of that stacking going on. If you want to get off of them, I'm a huge fan of Minnesota. And believe it or not, Minnesota already has their lineup out the night before, which is strange. Joey Gallo's batting 7th, which kind of threw me off a little bit. I had a lot of interest in him, but not as much now that he's batting in the 7th spot. I do like Trevor Larnach, though. 2.5K outfield as well. He's batting in the cleanup spot, and he like Olsen was just raking all throughout spring. So I do like the Minnesota bats. And let's see who else we got: Boston, Cincinnati, Baltimore. Yeah, they're all in fine spots. What are your thoughts on who we should be targeting here?
Well,
That's not Atlanta.
No, on FanDuel, I'm going Atlanta, but I think, like you said, there's going to be a lot of chalky lineups, and on FanDuel, you only get 4. And what I'm going to do on FanDuel is I'm going to definitely take Acuna. I'm going to take Olsen, lefty and lefty. I'm fine with that. Like you said, he was mashing. The bullpen's bad. Probably going to see a righty there, and Albies. But I think I'm going to wrap it around with Arcia. Arcia's got a lot to prove because he was controversially kept on the team when they sent some other guys down there, rookies that they thought would make the team. And I like that wraparound because Riley had a really bad spring. I said, I know you said don't go into spring, but Riley was really bad this spring. I mean, he towards the end it was a little bit better, but like
it was bad for him, but it wasn't that bad.
Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else, but anyways, I want to play Devers at third on FanDuel. So
there's just not a lot to like at third base. Like we talked about it a little bit. So like you got Devers,
and then I compare him with Yoshida for like 2,900 with my Atlanta stack, and I'm good. And then like the cheat code, I can play 2 first basemen. And like I don't want to do this on DK, but this would be a great thing to do in a GPP in case Olsen doesn't. Is I know he's like, I think he's 2,900 on DK, but his minimum price on FanDuel is Hall from Philly, who took over at first base. Yeah. I know he's against DeGrom, but this guy also was super hot during the spring training. Plus last year I loved when he came up and when Hoskins was injured and he was just on fire, and then he kind of lost it and they sent him back down to the minors, and but I think he learned a lot down there, and I think it was the right move. And I think this year he's going to be he's not going to be 2K for long.
No. And we have Philly in there as like a nice leverage stack going up against DeGrom. He's got a pitch count. Say they work him in the first 2 innings, go deep, foul some balls off. And next thing you know, he's at 75 pitches in the 4th or 5th inning. I mean, is it likely? Not too much, but still, if they can get 4 or 5 innings of a game not against DeGrom with that offensive talent, I think that could be a nice low-owned leverage spot there. In terms of like you talked about, Hall could be a great value. There's 2 of the top prospects in baseball are on this slate, and one of them is min price. Walker for St. Louis, who again fantastic during spring. He's min price. I don't care that he's going up against Manoah. He's got way too much talent to be min price.
Speed going up and power. He's got everything.
Yeah, so I don't care that he's going up
against him to Goldsmith, right? A little bit, maybe.
A little bit, yeah.
Or Pujols, maybe.
I don't know much about the Pujols speed.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm too.
True. Yeah, true.
Too much
yeah, never mind. Forget that one.
So that's like one min price guy that you could be putting in, who's not a punt by any means. Like he is phenomenal. And then the other guy is for the Yankees, Volpe. shortstop. He's 2.5K, so he can really open up some salary for you as well. But like I said, like you don't have to struggle too much with salary on this slate. If you throw in McClanahan, you can throw in one of those our top pitchers like Cole, Scherzer, Fried, whoever you want, a big Atlanta stack, and like you got $4,000 remaining per player. So salary is not an issue at all. One team that also I do just want to touch on really quick is Cincinnati. I do have a
Great
lot
American
of
ballpark.
Yep, I just have a lot of interest in Cincinnati, especially in that small ballpark of theirs. Let me pull up who I got big interest in here. Yeah, so Fraley and Friedel. Like those are the two guys who I think are in great spots going up against Keller here. Both nice springs. You can pair them with like Tyler Stevenson, India. You can put him in there as well. He has like that stolen base upside as well. But I do really like Cincinnati. I'm definitely going to have quite a bit of shares of them in GPP. So like a Minnesota Cincinnati pairing, or a Minnesota New York Yankees, Cincinnati Yankees pairing. I feel like that's kind of where I'm heading in my builds here for tomorrow. Well, opening day.
And I do have them. Like I took Green as a pitcher. I took 3 Cincinnati guys. I have Stevenson, India, and Friedel, and then I stacked San Diego with them. And I had a lot of money left over for an outfielder as a one-off. So it worked out really well. And my other pairing that I have is, like I said, I'll take Snell as a pitcher, but it's not bad because it's all these guys are with Minnesota and Baltimore, pairing them together. There's enough play in my lineup that I can switch to the Minnesota pitcher if Snell's not going to go. And I don't think, in a GPP, that's a horrible option.
Yep. Yeah. The only issue with like the Minnesota Cincinnati stacking is like third baseman is just like a graveyard. And then shortstop, you're kind of like thrust into a 5.4K Carlos Correa, which is a little much in my opinion, but I mean, you do what you got to do. So
well,
like
I got Henderson at third base for on FanDuel in that stack, and Machado in my San Diego Cincinnati one. So I made up quite well.
What are your thoughts on San Diego?
I think that they're gonna again, like there's enough games at 4:00 that you can pivot off. It's not like the traditional San Diego where they're playing at 10:10 and you can only go to like another team.
That is true. There are a lot of opportunities for late swap. Lock starts at 105, but it's only 2 of the 11 games going at 11 o'clock or at 1 o'clock.
There's a decent 4:00 slate too. So
yeah, San Diego, I have a little bit of hesitation on. Obviously, they won't have Tatis because he's still doing what he's doing. But like we spoke about,
why is he still suspended?
Because it carries over. It was so late into the year last year, he didn't get the full whatever. But like Marquez, like we have him as a fade. It's mainly because he's going up against San Diego combined with the rain threat. But if you look at his numbers, his splits between Coors Field and not a Coors Field, opposing batters, their average drops over 100 points when he leaves Coors Field.
That's why you got to get him out of Colorado.
He is a good pitcher. So that's kind of why we kind of put San Diego here in the GPP category, because they got a lot of big bats and they got a lot of name and star power, and they're going to be fantastic and they're going to make the playoffs like hands. Nope. I just lost my train of thought there. But like they're good. But Marquez is good outside of Coors. Like that is a massive split difference between him at Coors and outside of Coors.
You know what? MLB should give like Colorado pitchers a pay shift differential or something.
They should. I didn't even think about that.
So we got some good matchups. Those of you who've watched like the videos in the past, I've had an everyday pairing. So I looked at it this year, and I can do it on FanDuel because FanDuel always has an all-day slate. It's hard to do on DK because they don't always line up. But I think I'm going with Cleveland and Arizona again. I really like the way those two teams stack together, and I was able to stack a line and get McClanahan as my pitcher. So I'm like, So I got that locked in for tomorrow. So every day this season, I'm probably going to be stacking those two teams.
Do it. Sounds good. If I had to pick two teams, I mean, you just introduced this to me. I'm gonna go staring at my screen, Minnesota and Texas.
Okay.
I don't Corey Seager.
Just make sure the
I think
positions
those,
work out first, though, because like
yes.
Arizona's hard. You got to have a shortstop because they don't have a grid when they have Armand. So I always have to make sure that, there's a couple shortstop options. So yeah, that's why you have to play around with a little bit to get the right combination. But it all started out with it, believe it or not, your Trout got injured with the Angels, and I believe it was Cleveland. I paired them every single day, and I paid $1 in the GPP, just put in the line, and I won like over $3,000 throughout the course of the season on it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do it because third baseman is, well, it's there. It's not good. It's not. But it's there. No, I really think that like guys like Corey Seager are gonna have a monster year
Oh, I believe it.
with the ban of the shift. So, and then like guys like Joey Gallo are just going to have a monster year as they kind of ban the shift. Like Gallo's still going to strike out an absurd amount. Sure. But I definitely think that, we're not going to see what's happened to him the past couple of years. So that's kind of why I just went Minnesota and Texas. I was just thinking of like, who are some guys that are really benefiting from this shift ban? Gallo and Seager came to mind, and that was that. But yeah, so that's all I got for the slate for tomorrow, though.
Okay, well, if that's all we got, then if anybody has any questions, they can hit up at Twitter at Megaro31, and you're
at McKinley_412,
or leave some comments in the videos. And like I said, we'll try to have these out daily, at least 5 days a week, hopefully 6. Probably not on Sundays unless one of us has a lot of free time. So appreciate you watching. We look forward to a very successful season. And if you want more information on FSi DFS, if you want to sign up, our pricing is very, very cheap for like season, for a week, for a month. If you go into the information of this video, all of it's there. And just come and join the Discord. There's a lot of free things going on, like EL and European basketball and a bunch of other stuff. So, just come in and join the community, just see what's there for free. Check out baseball, and we appreciate everybody watching. So last thing here is, do you got a World Series call?
Oh, man, you're putting me on the spot here. I'm going to go with Atlanta versus, oh man, I can't think of a good AL team. I mean, there's so many good AL teams. I want to say the Yankees, but like they're just going to disappoint us in the playoffs again, aren't they?
Yeah, and I'm a huge Yankees fan, and they either have hitting or they have pitching, and they can never put both of them together. It's just very, very difficult for that, and just really frustrating. So
yeah, I think Atlanta's pitching depth just in a 7-game series is just elite. We'll go Atlanta. I'll just put the Yankees in there. Atlanta versus the Yankees. Atlanta wins it.
So it's going to be a throwback to 1996 with a different result.
Yep.
Okay, I'm really going to go bold here. Okay, I'm going to go the Seattle Mariners.
Okay, I kid you not. They entered my mind.
And the Phillies. I think Trey Turner is going to make the difference. They already have a trading deadline guy coming back with Harper. It's almost as if they brought in a big stud then. He's going to be well rested. If they can figure out the pitching, if some of these young guys come, they had like something special going on last year. It's almost like they were a team of destiny, and they just kind of ran out of gas a little bit at the end. I think they make it all the way this year. And I'm not even a huge Philly fan. Just, I just really think there's something with this team.
All right. We'll see who wins.
Okay. Well, good luck in your contest tomorrow. You know how to get a hold of us. Thanks again for watching. And if these videos help you, as always, give us a like, subscribe to our channel so you know when the videos are coming out, and please share with your friends. We are over 4,000 subscribers now, heading towards 4,100. And between NASCAR and this, we'd love to drive it up to like 5,000 by the end of the season. So that's my personal goal. So please, 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 if we're helping you, help us out just by subscribing to the channel or sharing with your friends and having them subscribe too. So thanks again for watching. Good luck this season, and we'll see you around.